Thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. So after forming a decent plan for a morning of landscape photography, I set out full of optimism, and as always, I couldn't wait to see what the day had in store.
So I had a plan this morning in terms of location, quite a specific plan of where I wanted to be and at what time. And as I was coming in, I was probably only about 20 minutes from that particular location. And as I was coming into the Lake District, I seen an inversion over Windermere, and it was spectacular. And then I allowed myself to get into panic mode, completely changed my course, completely changed my plans, swung a left, as it were, and went for the inversion. And I've completely messed things up. I don't know if you can see just there, the inversion. Absolute inversion obsessed. It just, God! Sometimes it's annoying as hell, man. I've come too far away from the inversion, basically. And now I'm in this landscape now, which, by the way, this is part of the problem, I'm sure you'll agree, is just look at it. It's absolutely gorgeous. We've got ice. We've got frosty, freezing fog on all of the foliage. On any given day, this would be spectacular, but I just wished I didn't let myself get into that panic mode so easily. So now, I've just got to try my best to adapt and quickly realise that obviously, it's really not ended up that bad.
I spent the next few minutes wandering around this clearly gorgeous area and attempted to shift my mindset from negative to positive, from elsewhere to here. I wasn't quite there just yet, however.
Oh, some nice birds flying over my head there. I don't care. I don't care about the beauty of nature this morning. Not interested. Absolute misery guts, and I need to snap out of it. Do you know what it is? I've had a bit of time to get myself out of panic mode now. It's planning, man. It's putting expectations in your head. It's just an absolute age-old thing for us landscape photographers, man. I've even got a steaming hot coffee here and I'm raging. Oh. Here's the problem, right? And I know that you're thinking this sort of thing. This landscape that surrounds me right now, the conditions that surround me right now are absolutely spectacular. I'm going to take a risk here. Put the hot coffee on the Z7. If I'd planned to be where I am now this morning and got here, I'd be absolutely buzzing. But because I had a completely different plan, and I feel like the grass is greener over there, I'm just allowing myself to, be feeling sorry for myself and feeling like I'm hard done by. It's ridiculous. It's childish is what it is. I do think sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes planning can be horrendous for landscape photographers. For really planning your photo shoots. To be honest, I didn't have really like a massive plan this morning. I just had a very specific location that I wanted to be at a very specific time. And I even had sort of specific shots in mind. So really, I did have quite a specific plan, didn't I? And I just feel it's more the expectation of what that plan may bring, I think, rather than the plan itself. I don't know. Madness. Anyway, I'm feeling a bit better now because I'm starting to actually open my eyes and look at this frigging landscape and how gorgeous it is, man. This hoarfrost, this ice. Oh, and the sun is slowly starting to dip down now. So I'm set up here to take a shot and hopefully this This is going to allow me to get a little bit of redemption, just for myself, just for my own mindset. So there's been quite a lot of like flooding, localised flooding here in the Lake District recently, and lots of this sort of stuff, you know, fields that end up looking like little tarns. But what's cool this morning is obviously if it's shallow enough, they're just freezing over, and it's definitely making for some photogenic locations, let's just put it that way. So I've got my 24 to 200 mil on, and I've just spotted one really nice isolated tree here, just beyond all of this ice. And what I'm waiting for, you can see it, look, I'm waiting for that sunlight to dip down behind my tree, sort of a bit further back off in the distance. And I'm hoping it's going to give us a little bit of kind of light separation, you know. The tree that I'm photographing is not going to be illuminated, you know, is a real sort of cool blue colour. And then, you know, fingers crossed if it all works out, that background is going to be a really nice, warm, golden colour from the sun, of course. So that's the plan. Not really sure what the old focal length is and things like that, but I will zoom in towards the tree. Again, really just to try and bring out that isolation of the subject itself, and definitely have some of this ice down in the foreground as well. The old cough is bringing me back to life. Oh. So, you know what, I'm not sure that shot came out any good, if I'm being honest. But I'm just, you know, no matter what, I always feel it's so nice to get that first image in the bag, especially when you're feeling a bit down and feeling a bit childish. So I've actually just sent the drone up. I'll pop the video feed up for you quickly. He's only just over there, but just because we've got a little bit of a height advantage, of course, from the drone, we're getting some photographs that are completely different, you know. Obviously I wouldn't be able to get these at all. So we're looking right down the throat of Windermere, really, which is England's largest lake, you can see there. We're right down at the southern end of him, where it actually ends up feeding into the river, which eventually goes into Morecambe Bay. But top right of the frame, we've got Gummers How, which is that fell that's sort of lit up, and then you can see right off in the distance, we've got some of them snowy peaks back towards the central lakes. And I don't know, really, I just really like that kind of peninsula that I'm kind of centralising in the frame there. The way that the light's hitting him, absolutely wonderful. And of course the way that the sort of river and lake sort of leads out into that inversion, which I was fuming about missing, but at least we're getting a bit of it with this shot. So yeah, maybe not the best again, but we'll see how it turns out. So I've not really moved. All I've done is kind of spun round, because now we're facing into the sun. I've mentioned this before. I feel like even a non-photographer would know this. If you're shooting towards the sun and you're getting subjects that are backlit, it is just so much more dramatic than shooting that way, which is like what I was doing before. I think that's why I couldn't really feel too positive about that previous photograph, you know, the one that I took with the Z7. Whereas now, oh man, the backlighting changes everything. I'm back! Moni Henry's gone. He's gone back to bed. You know, don't you, when if the coffee doesn't even sort you out, I'm gonna have another one. Look at this, man. It's just drugs at the end of the day, isn't it? Yeah, feeling a bit down in the morning, give yourself a bit of drugs, have a bit of caffeine, sort you out. So, I tell you what, compositionally, a very similar photograph to the last one, concept-wise anyway, you know, single lone tree, lit up. It's actually the way around in terms of the light. The tree's lit up and the background's in shade. This ridgeline is completely black. I've actually put the camera into monochrome, like black and white mode, because I think it's gonna look so much better. And you know what? I'm getting a real sense, a real feeling of like an infrared photograph almost, just because of the way that the light is and because of the hoarfrost. So the trees, the branches, anything that's not the tree trunk is really bright white, and the trunk itself is dark black. Absolute wonderful contrast. And I just feel like it's going to lend itself a lot better to a monochrome photograph. And then of course, like I said, that black background as well. All about the light. So I'm right in at 200 millimeters, which I didn't really expect. And the tree as well, it's actually a really, really wide tree. I immediately put my camera into portrait orientation because I just assumed shooting a single tree like the last shot, it'll work better. But it's looking much better in landscape, and I've put it in like a 5x4 crop. Wow, it just looks a bit kind of surreal. That's the best way that I could describe it, and almost a bit abstract because there's so much darkness, and the only light we're getting is those illuminated, you know, branches. Really, absolute class. So I hope this works out because I'm feeling quite good about this one. Yeah, there's maybe a couple of trees in the frame as well. I've just completely lied to you, but should be nice because of the light.
So I was really happy with the result of this image, and with that being said, I did go against my own advice in the field by actually leaving this as a colour photograph. I preferred the extremely subtle colours, the golds and the blues, to just a pure black and white.
So, just after I took that photograph, I was speaking to a really nice lady that was just out walking her dogs this morning, and she's given me some local insider information about what sounds like a really nice spot for some landscape photography, and it's only 8 minutes drive away. So I'm gonna head round there now. Let's see what it brings. Right. So I'm not really sure what to expect of this location as we just arrive at one of the reservoirs here. This is really cool. But we're getting some extensive views that way, look, back over to Morecambe Bay. But I'm going to keep going round because the lady that told me about it said that it's the views back to the Lake District Mountains that are exceptional. So I look forward to that. Before we get up there, I'd love to say another massive thank you to today's video sponsor, which is Squarespace. If you don't know who they are, Squarespace is an all-in-one platform that you can use to build your own website, and it's very easy. Trust me on that one. I've used Squarespace for probably about 4 years now. And to get yourself started, they've got loads of templates when it comes to building your website that you can use. And it's so simple to get a really nice looking website. Pretty much straight off the bat, it's fantastic. If down the line you'd like to sell some products like I do, they've got a lot of great e-commerce options as well. You know, I sell my prints, ebooks, calendars, I advertise my one-to-one workshops, all of that stuff is through my Squarespace website, and I wouldn't be without it. I've used them from before they sponsored me and all of that sort of stuff. And they've got wonderful customer service as well if you ever hit a few speed bumps along the way. So if you'd like to give them a try, they come highly recommended from me. Go to squarespace.com/Henry Turner and be sure to use the offer code Henry Turner at checkout to get yourself 10% off your first purchase. That'll all be in the video description below. Right, let's see what views await us. Wowzers, man. Wow, she was not wrong. This is an extensive vista of South Lakeland. You know, I'm talking east to west. That really is special. But for me at least, I don't think I don't think it's right for photography, in this instance at least, and that is only because I don't think I could get far enough. Well, I can't get far enough in. I was just playing around with my 24-200. Everything is just so far away, and I've been thinking about this quite a lot recently. I might invest in like a 100-400mm lens, because if you watch me regularly, you know how much I love the telephoto end of my 24-200mm lens. I love telephoto landscape photography, and I just think a 100-400mm lens would suit me down to the ground, And this has made me think that even more so. Perfect example for it. Everything's so far away. Not just the mountains, but the fields back behind you guys as well, where the light is wonderful. So, yeah, I might invest in one. Now, I'd love to get a bit of advice, because I've done a small bit of research as to which specific lens I should get. There's obviously the Nikon Z 100-400, which would be the natural choice, but it's quite expensive. That's the only reason. And I know you can get sort of like 100-400 Sigmas and maybe Tamrons, but I would have to get the FTZ or, the F to Z adapter as well. So if anyone's got any experience in that setup, the third-party lenses on any of the Nikon Z cameras, let me know if it's any good. If not, I suppose I'll at some point probably invest in the 100-400, because, it is an investment, really, especially for me, because it's my job. But yeah, always like to save a bit of money if possible. But yeah, I'm not going to take any shots. And thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate your support very much. Do hit subscribe if you'd like to see more from me. And I shall see you all on the next adventure. Out.